Students gathered outside of Brigham Young University yesterday to protest the school's treatment of sexual assault victims with regards to honor code violations. This is after the victim of an alleged rape went public with her story and started a petition that has garnered over 90,000 signatures. So BYU, which is owned by the Church of Latter-day Saints, had a bunch of student protests yesterday with regards to a specific case, and they called for revisions to the honor code. So part of the honor code includes religious bylaws that can penalize students for having consumed alcohol or even having a member of the opposite sex in your bedroom, amongst other things. So the specific case that we're talking about here is when sophomore Maddie Barney reported sexual assault to police officials in Provo, Utah. She alleged a rape by a date that was actually off campus. She alleges that the gentleman he lied about his age. He is actually a 39-year-old married man. She said he lied about his age, name, marital status, and the Salt Lake Tribune actually confirmed that this did happen during a staged phone conversation between the young woman and the gentleman. So what happened is that Utah County Sheriff's deputy, which was a friend of the assailant, sent the report to BYU. It was from then that BYU contacted Maddie saying that she had violated the honor code and that she needed to have some kind of honor code hearing. So after that, she decided on recommendation from her attorney to not do the hearing, and since then she's had a lot of issues with not being able to register for new classes. She hasn't been able to retroactively withdraw from classes that she's already been in, and school administrators claim that they couldn't prove that the rape happened, so that's why they're not helping her. So she went and made this case public last week. She started an online petition and has gotten over 92,000 signatures, and she's basically just demanding that BYU exempt victims of sexual assault from their honor code.
So the rape, just so I'm clear, the rape that she is saying or alleges that took place was consensual sex, but it was because it was on a false premise that she had sex with this guy, and is that why it was a rape rather than forcible? He forced himself upon her. It was
forcible rape. So not only did he lied and presented a false case of himself, it was a very forcible rape. What is disturbing, all of it is disturbing, but it's the fact that, we already have issues of campus rape, but the fact this happened off campus, she didn't even involve the school in it. It's just this sheriff's deputy was a friend of the guy and was like, hey, BYU, you know what your student is doing. So it really just created a
double standard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unbelievable double standard, just with the sole purpose of trying to get his friend off the hook.
Yeah, exactly. So as I said before, she's faced a lot of issues. Professors haven't been very lenient with her having to skip class because of court hearings, et cetera. So she's had a really hard time here. So she recently filed a complaint with the United States Department of Education. She did this on Monday, and she is citing Title IX violations. So Title IX is the gender equity rule that requires schools to provide resources and to really deal with sexual assault accusations on campus. So the Department of Education has already warned universities in a letter back in 2011 that there's a very chilling effect on victims and issues around sexual assault when you create this atmosphere of, oh, you're going to get punished for already being the victim. Yeah, I mean, what do you think?
Why would you ever? I don't understand why anyone would ever want to attend one of these universities. I mean, 99% of people who attend are of the religious faith, the LDS. So I guess therein lies the answer. A third of people who attend this particular institution are Utah residents, and as we know, the overwhelming majority of Utah residents, I think it's around 62%, something like that, are of the Mormon faith. So I guess it becomes like a feeder school almost for the Mormon faith, and they work symbiotically together in such an insidious and double standards way as to, again, bring the credibility of any type of moral code, any type of teaching, any type of religious, aside from the fact whether you think there's any veracity or any validity to the religious teachings of Joseph Smith, and he's going up and getting it from the alien god, and get into all that. It just completely undercuts that. Exactly. And why anyone would want to attend, it's baffling to me. There's 30,000 students go there. It's a big school.
It's a very large school. I mean, and again, I don't want to criticize people's religious beliefs. If that's the school that you chose to go to knowing that they have honor codes like this, I mean, I could be judgy about someone going to a school where you can't drink or you're going to be violating some kind of code. But I think this is the point that she's trying to make, is whether or not you agree with that, the fact that a sexual assault victim is then having to not only deal with this very traumatic experience, but then also have her entire life, thrown askew because
and
of
be
it.
shamed, and effectively be shamed for it. And that
Yeah.
is something that we routinely will call out people, and I've done it. I routinely call out people of Muslim faith and say this is ridiculous and the treatment of women is outrageous, and we jump on that very, very quickly. But I don't see a huge distinction.
Yeah.
I don't see a big distinction right here.
Yeah, exactly. So, Maddie Barney was not able to attend the protest yesterday because of safety concerns, but in a Facebook post, she had this to say. She says, "Nothing a survivor does makes rape or any sexual assault okay. By investigating victims for violations of the honor code, BYU is re-victimizing those who come forward and blaming them for what happened." So the students that met yesterday, they were to present the signatures and present the petition to Ken Worthen, who's the BYU president. And he later said that the school is investigating the relation between the honor code and the Title IX violations, or the potential violations there. And he says, sometimes in the course of an investigation, facts come to light that a victim has engaged in prior honor code violations. The university recognizes the inherent tension in some circumstances in these two important parts of BYU's efforts to create and maintain an atmosphere consistent with the ideals and principles of the church. In all honor code proceedings, the university strives for fairness, sensitivity, and compassion, taking into account all mitigating facts and circumstances. So they're going to be studying it. Some people say that studying is not enough. Again, in the issue of campus rape, this was not a student. This is not a case, sometimes people jump on it and say like, oh, maybe it's a false accusation and the other student's life is going to be destroyed. Right. This was a grown man who lied to a sophomore in college, and all of this happened. So we will see how BYU continues to respond, but in the meantime, students are demanding that BYU change its ways.